God who is not moved or becomes anxious because we're going through something or facing a trial or tribulation. Our God is never worried. Our God is never overly concerned. It doesn't matter what trial or tribulation we're facing. Our God is so confident in himself that it is always a way of escape and an opportunity and a potential. We're not waiting on him. He's waiting on us. And last year, our understanding of having faith for it and walking in faith and moving in faith challenged the very God of our faith to say, if they dare to believe it, then I dare to do it. If they dare to believe me for the bold, then I dare to do the bold. If they dare to believe me that I can take the I am off the possible and make all things possible for those who believe in me, then I'm ready and bold enough to step out there and answer all of their faith with my power, which is omnipotent in the place. And some of you didn't just sit here and listen to these messages on last year. Some of you did not just sit here and write things down. Some of you did not just run around the church when it got loud and exciting. But some of you actually had enough gall in you to go home and try this stuff out. How many of you faithed around and found out last year that God is faithful? That God is faithful. And I'm not talking about the invisible stuff right now. I'm talking about faith allowing God to pull down out of the invisible and make it very plain and visible in your sight. I'm telling you, I walked out of some stuff last year and walked into some stuff last year simply because I dared to step back and say, God, I don't know what's exactly in front of me, but I am not walking by my natural sight. I'm just walking by faith. And Cheryl, I promise you, when I started doing it, jobs increased out of nowhere. Finances started coming out of nowhere. I started having more than I knew what to do with. I had to pour it over. I realized that my cup was literally running over. And whatever it was that I needed, it felt like all I had to do was believe God for it and dare to step out on it. And he began to answer my faith with his wonderful power. And if I've got at least 3 people in the room that dared to try it last year, and there's some manifestation before you, would you just give God a praise right here, right now? His answering my faith on last year had me to end last year with saying, you know what? Now that I know that all things are possible to those of us who dare to believe, why don't I just start learning how to walk around in my belief? Why don't I just start learning how to let my faith be a natural component? Since all these years before, I let doubt be a natural component, and I let people convince me that it was natural to doubt, that it was normal to doubt, that it was a part of my human makeup to doubt. And they weren't lying about that. In my humanity, absolutely. In my naturality, absolutely. It is natural to doubt in my naturality. But I found out last year that I am not supernatural. I'm naturally super. I'm naturally super. I should naturally be expecting the unexpectable. I should naturally be believing God for the impossible. I should naturally be walking on things that start out in my mind and then flow to my heart and then go from my heart to my mouth, and then I begin to walk on it and I begin to see what wasn't there. The faith that we walk by is not that which is so natural with our bodies, but our eyes of faith says, God, I want to see what everybody else can't see, because you told me that the blessings that you prepared for me, watch this, the blessings that you prepared for me, you said that eyes haven't even seen it. You said that ears haven't even heard it. You said that I haven't even imagined it already in my imagination. That means that whatever I'm looking at and whatever I'm hearing, you got to have a blessing for me that's beyond that. That's the blessing that I want to walk into. That's the blessing that I want to have enough faith for. That's the favor that I want to be able to shout about. That's the favor that I want to be able to bless God. I want people to look at my life and not see that I did something great, but I want them to look at my life and say that had to be God. If God hadn't done that, there would be no way you could walk into it. If God hadn't done that, there would be no way it would be manifested. I know you, boy, and I know you didn't have nothing. I know you are nothing. But when I look at your life, all I see is God, because I just see him blessing you and putting favor on you. I didn't see it before, but when you started believing it, I started seeing it. Catch that. When you started believing it, I started seeing it. Watch out. When you started believing it, I started seeing it. How many of you are ready to let the world know that God is still alive and well in your life? I dare you right now to just shout, I believe it, and therefore you're going to see it in my life. But although we started out with the great faith on last year, and I'm so grateful that we were able to bring it to a closure, but that doesn't mean that we brought it to an end. Because you can't bring faith to an end, because having faith within itself is not the end. Look at your neighbor and say, it is not the end. There is a reason why God wants you to have faith. Faith within itself is not the manifestation, which means it is not the end. And when you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and the last verse there, it says, now abide these three: faith, hope, and love. Faith, hope, and love. Faith, hope, and love. Starts with faith, but your faith is supposed to be counting you toward the space of your love. Your faith is supposed to be manifesting your love. Let me tell you why God wants us to have faith. He doesn't just want us to have faith in him because he's going to bless us. He doesn't want us to just have faith in him because he's going to put favor on our lives. No, he wants us to have faith in him so that we can do the things that show him how much we love him. Oh. See, because when you really love someone, you want to do everything that you can do to show them that you love them. Many people have gotten in trouble in their lives because you had faith and fell in to try to demonstrate a love for somebody that didn't love you back. But God says, if you love me, I love you. I loved you before you loved me. I loved you before you were created. I loved you before you were born. So I want to give you faith, because if you truly love me, God said, I want you to have all the power that you need so that you can do what you need to do to show me how much you love me. God says, I don't want you to walk in that blessing so that you can go around and brag to everybody else. I want you to walk around that blessing to show me that I love you, God. And I want to show you with this blessing. I brought this blessing back so I could show it to you because I love you. I love you so much that I don't want you to waste a blessing on my life. I love you so much that I don't want you to waste time in my life. I love you so much that I don't want you to waste the air that you allowed me to breathe in my life. I love you so much that I don't want to walk around with the favor that you created for me and then get there to find out that I didn't even have enough love for you to walk in the favor. I want you to know that I love you so much that I'm willing to go through hell and high water for you. I want you to know that I love you so much that I want to create a way to show you, God, you've been so good to me and love me so much. I want to use my faith to show you how much I love you. Your faith is not just for you to start doing stuff on your own to show how much you love yourself. No, your faith is given to you so that you can show God how much you love him. How many of you want to be blessed so you can show God that you loved him? How many of you want to walk in divine healing so you can show God you? Because see, if you love somebody, you believe them. 1 Corinthians 13 says, love believes all. I wish I had a witness in here. Now, you cannot disconnect faith from love, because God only gives you faith so that you can show him how much you love. He says, I want you to do everything that comes to your mind's eye so you can bring it back. Just like a son with his daddy. A son wants to go out there and do everything he can just so he can show his daddy, so he can let his daddy know your time with me was not in vain. Your prayers on me was not in vain. Your power you gave me was not in vain. The times you counseled me was not in vain. When you woke me up and I didn't want to get up was not in vain. When you dropped me off at school, it was not in vain. See, that's how we ought to be. We ought to be children to the Father. And every day we ought to be using our faith so we can show the Father, this is how much I love you. I appreciate you so much for putting breath in my body. I appreciate you so much for letting the sun rise and go down on me and not my grave. I thank you so much for allowing me to draw breath in my lungs. I thank you so much that you brought me through the car accident. I bless you so much, and I love you for all your loving kindness toward me. And so every day I come in, I don't want the devil to steal my praise and make him believe that he can do something to stop me from showing God how much I love him. As a matter of fact, I want you to use your faith right now and give God a praise to show him how much you bless him and love him today. But here is the thing. It starts with your faith, but it ends with your love. Your faith should be pointing in the direction of your love. Oh my goodness. Because he says, out of all three of these, love is the greatest. He didn't say faith was the greatest. We put so much emphasis on faith because we believe that it is the greatest. But faith is a tool of love. Faith is a tool just to help you produce and manifest, to show your acts of love towards whom it is that you love. Just like in a marriage. In a marriage, you love your spouse. And so you want to do everything you can to please your spouse. But you can't do everything you need to do to please your spouse if you don't have anything to please your spouse. So you have to have enough belief that when you get up and go to work today, even though you don't feel like it in your body, that at the end of the week, they're going to put something in your hand so that you can show your spouse how much you love them. And every day that you get up and go to your job, you got to go to your job in faith. You got to drive to your job in faith. You got to stand and do your job in faith. But it's not for faith alone. It's for the love that you want to demonstrate with what you're going to produce once you walk in your faith. I wish I had a witness in this house. God is trying to tell you, last year it was about faith. But now I want you to know that the reason I wanted you to have faith is because I'm ready for you to show me this year how much you love me. Show me this year how much you love your church. Show me this year how much you love your brother. Show me this year how much you love your sister. Don't just believe for yourself, but believe for your family. Believe for your people. Believe for the members. Believe for your church. Believe for God, because God says that if you love me, then you'll believe me. If you love me, then you'll obey me, because whoever you love, you want to show them that you love him. How many folk in here this year want to show God how much you love him? Starts with your faith, ends with your love. We're to show acts of our love to him. And this story that we are reading today is showing us how important it is for the church to actually use their faith to show how much they love. This year, we're not going to just go around and wear t-shirts talking about I love my church. No. We're not going to just love in word. That's offensive to people when you just love in word. And you don't believe that you didn't cut off some friends in your life because they told you that they loved you, but they didn't act like they loved you. They told you that they loved you, but they didn't show you that they loved you. They said they loved you with their mouths, but every one of their actions did not line up to a producing a manifested love before you. But God says last year, 2024, I gave you the power for 2025, you to walk and show me that you love. You're not going to just say that you love somebody. You're going to be able to show somebody by faith, because when you say you love, you're going to want to do things, and you're going to want to bless them, and you're going to want to act on that love. God says this year you have the power to do it. Your faith has led you into that love where you can now walk around and produce acts of love. The faith is that you're going to be able to do it even when you weren't shown love. Even when you didn't receive that kind of love. Even though you didn't have those models of love before you, God says, if you would just believe me that you can love like that, if you just believe me that you can love those who hate you, if you could just believe that you can actually pray for those who spitefully misuse you, if you can actually believe that I can give you the power to be able to walk on those who are serpents in your life trying to bite at your ankles, and you will not die. God said, I have preserved you for 2025 because this is a year of 5. It's a year of grace. It's a year of double grace because 5 times 5 equals 25. God says, I've given you double favor in this year so that you can walk in the power of your faith. If you tell somebody you love them this year, God's going to give you the power through your faith to be able to show them that you love them this year. You're going to be able to bless people unlike you ever blessed them before. You're going to be able to bless God unlike you ever blessed them before. Somebody better get ready in this house because love is about to lift you. In this story comes down not to the multitude. The multitudes are not the important people in this story. The important people in this story is only 5 people that's important in this story. We're not going to count Jesus because Jesus is he's the foundation of importance in every story. But the multitude is not it. Just 5. Get that number, just 5. Just 5. And they're going to represent the church today because this year we said, I love my church. My goodness. And so we see that the 5 are here. The 5 are here. 4 of them are able to do things, but they were still going to see Jesus. Now, they were going to see Jesus not just because Jesus preached, but they were going to see Jesus because obviously they had some problems too. They had some needs themselves. So you got 4 of them, members of the church. They had some problems. And the Bible doesn't talk about what their problems are, but we know that they had some challenges and some struggles because they were going to see Jesus. Because if you're going to see Jesus just for nothing, then that's what you're going, nothing from nothing, that's what my mom said. It leaves nothing. That's why I'm not surprised that some of y'all come in church and you don't have a praise, and you leave out of church and you don't have a praise, because you didn't come here for anything. You didn't come here. You came here to see what people had on. You came here to see how people going to show up. You came here to hear the latest gossip. You came here so you could play on your phone. You came here so that you could go to the bathroom. You came here so that you could take a cigarette break. You came here so that you could serve in your ministry. But you didn't come here for the help that you need. Because people who come to see Jesus for help, they act a different kind of way. You can't stop a person that's coming to see Jesus from help from getting in here. They don't want to hear what you got to say. Not right now, baby. We'll talk about the movie we watched last night. We'll talk about that later on today. Right now, I got some stuff I need to take and get it to Jesus. I ain't got time to take no cigarette break with you. We shouldn't even be smoking anyway. But guess what? I got to get in there and I got to see Jesus. I got too much going on in my life to be standing out here with you. I've been knowing you for the last 40 years. You still ain't helped me fix nothing. But I got some stuff that only Jesus can deal with, and I got to get in the house. People who are coming to see Jesus for a reason, they don't play around with you. They don't play around on their phone. They don't mess around with other people. They come in, enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and enter into his court with praise. And when it's time to get the word, they understand, I need some help. Did anybody in here come to see Jesus because you got some stuff going on? Look at your neighbor, tell me, and I ain't ashamed to say it. I got some stuff, I got some needs going on. I got some needs. And in the story, like I said, although it talks about the one, it doesn't talk about what their challenges are that they're coming to see Jesus for. Just like some of you here, it ain't everybody's business exactly what's going on. But you just need to know, as long as you know that you're here for a reason, as long as you know that you're here for a purpose, it doesn't matter that everybody know it, because you don't need that kind of help from everybody else. You come in directly to see Jesus. That's what makes a church member. That's what makes a kingdom member. That's what makes someone who is connected, that you care so much about what it is that you need. But not only do you care about what you need, membership is about connection. Membership is about, if I hurt this finger, my arm hurt. And if my arm hurt, my chest hurt. And if my chest hurt, my other arm hurt. And if that arm hurt, then my torso hurt. Then my legs hurt. Because when I feel a pain over here, I can't just ignore it and act like it's not a part of me. And when I'm a member of something, I have to be concerned, because I am only as strong as the weakest member. So although these four started out on their own journey to get their own problems fixed with Jesus, as they were walking along the way, one of them remembered, you know what? Our friend can't get here on his own. Because, see, that's what church members do. Come on, we talk about I love my church. You got to understand, it's hard to love church that don't have members. It's hard to love a church that don't have people connected. When everybody comes in and nobody know your name, and can't nobody say nothing to you, and nobody know how to minister to you, and you act like nothing's going wrong in your life, and you don't want nobody to have your phone number because you don't want nobody to call you and check on you and all of this kind of nonsense. But let me tell you, when you laying up there in the hospital bed watching everybody else going to get their problems fixed, when you laying up there sick on your own sick bed, watching everybody else go and get their life together, something ought to kick off in you and say, hey, stop by here. Just come by. Can you come pick me up? See, because real church members, even though all of us got our own challenges and problems, some of us are still in a position to be able to help pick somebody else up. One of the problems in church is that the people who have still the ability to pick other people up, you so selfish and concerned about yourself, you won't even stop by and realize that it ain't even about you. Yeah, you complaining about your arm hurting, but at least both your legs work. You looking at the one who don't have no legs to be able to get around, and you acting like your problem is just as bad as their problem is. No, at least you can still move around if you look around a little bit and stop being so selfish and so self-consumed with what you going through and what you got to deal with and what's happening in your life and how they don't like you and how nobody ever helped me and how I can't get this and how every time I take a step up, I get knocked back 3. You so self-consumed with your own problem, you didn't even realize that somebody was next to you that had more problems than you. Just because they didn't tell you, if you can hear them say, can you pick me up? Some of y'all come here every Sunday with an empty car. Ooh. All these people that you know need a pickup. And guess what? I'm not even talking about in the world. I'm not even talking about unbelievers. I'm talking about, y'all can look out there in the text thread and somebody say, you know, my car is not working today and I'm just not feeling, and y'all be like, oh, you know, I'm going to pray for you. Oh, ooh. Nobody ever says, you know what, I'll come by and pick you up. We just leave a man down and then wonder why when we get the service, something is wrong with our praise. Something's wrong with our worship. You know why? Because all on your mind and all on your heart, God is like, you didn't even have enough faith to demonstrate your love for that individual so you could go by there and pick them up. And you didn't even realize, see, you needed that person to be sitting next to you today on your pew. That was the person that I assigned to you today. You didn't even know that. Now you can't get your praise on because the person I assigned as your praise partner through commonality, you didn't even have enough love in your heart to use your faith to go by and pick them up. Real members care so much about each other that even though we're going to see Jesus for our own problem, we still look around the room and say, does anybody else need help? And one of my arms don't work, but if my other arm work and you ain't got no arms, then I'll come and help you with the one arm I got. If one of my legs is out of order, but I got one of them and you ain't got no legs, then we'll work this out some kind of way, but I'm going to help you. There are those of us who need to be picked up, but we're all still members in need of help. And it doesn't make any sense to talk about who's more hurting and who's more down and who's more complicated in their life and who's going through more. No, it doesn't matter. Jesus is in one place. We just got to make it to Jesus. We just look at your neighbor and say, I just need to make it to Jesus. And if you help me, then I'll help you. And it was such a camaraderie in that church. They loved their church so much that they came together, not just one person trying to drag this man in, but when he went to help, another one went to help. And when he went to help, another one went to help. And when he went to help, another one went to help. And the four corners, I wish I had a witness, the north, the south, the east, and the west, when they came together, they were able to grab hold and lift the one who was not able to be lifted up. God is saying to this church right now that I'm sending them from the north, the south, the east, and the west. And when they come in, you all need to be ready to grab hold so that love. Church members aren't going to look like they used to look when I was going to church. Church members, when they came in, they were tempered enough, and they would wait for the altar call, and then they would stand up, and they would think about it, and my dad would say the doors of the church are open, and they would come down just modest and meek, and they would stand there, and people would hug them and pray with them, and then afterwards, my dad would give them the right hand of fellowship, tell them that they were a member of the church, and then ask them where did they want to work. Some of y'all been to church like that. People who coming in now, they ain't that kind of church member. They don't care nothing about your right hand, your left hand, your left foot. They didn't necessarily come here to work. They need help. And those of us who have been here and have been helped before need to stop acting like we've never been helped. Because when we realize that we've been helped before, then it's easier for us to grab somebody else and say, I already know what it's like to be helped. But apparently, you've never been here before. Let me take you. Somebody that can help you. And now we begin to see them go from faith to love. They had to believe before they even stopped by to pick him up. They had to believe that he could get help. They had to believe that where they were taking him, healing was there for him. They had to believe that his circumstance would get better once they got him there. They had to believe it so much that they were willing to go through extra pain and extra sacrifice because it was easier for them if they had just walked there by themselves. But do you know how it is when you got to carry some weight that can't carry itself and you got to take it from where you are? It was easier when you were just doing it by yourself, but now you got kids. It was easier when you were just doing it by yourself, but now you done mess around and got married. It was easier when you were doing it by yourself, but now you done mess around and got a job. It was easier when you were doing it by yourself, but God didn't call us to be the church by ourselves. He called us to be the church together, helpers to one another. Can everybody make sure that you understand that church membership is important, because what it says is that we are so connected that we become helpers of one another, and that the adage that we begin to live our lives by is that we are better together. The adage that we begin to live our lives by is that I'm not going to fall because I'm right here and I've got somebody that's on the right of me, and somebody that's on the left of me, and somebody that's in front of me, and somebody that's in back of me. And if I've got all of that going on, then I cannot fail, because they're not going to let me fail. And notice, I have not begun to talk about Jesus. This story starts with Jesus and it ends with Jesus, but the bulk of the story has to do with these 5 people, with symbolizing grace, taking us through faith, by faith. It's taking us. These 4 men, they begin to bear, and it becomes an act of love that is born out of their faith. This is what happens when the church is full of faithful people who are looking for opportunities to use their faith to show how much we love each other. This is what happened. Miracles happen. Healings happen. Deliverances happen. Because you don't think that we're going to go through all of that to get to Jesus and he's just going to leave us hanging. Matter of fact, I got some witnesses in here right now that can tell you Jesus never leaves you hanging. I've got some folk in here right now, if they were on this microphone, they would preach you under a pew, because they could tell that story. They could tell the story on how Jesus didn't leave them hanging. They could tell a story on it. But see, what they didn't know was that it took some help to get to Jesus. And we always only want to count God as the divine helper, and he is the only divine helper, but a lot of his help, the way we get to him is we use people. He uses people. He uses people. Somebody praying for you even when you ain't praying for yourself. Y'all don't know how much these ministers of this congregation love you. We put you in their groups, and they send you text to try to pray for you and try to let you know that they love you and check on you. You won't even take time to text them back. You ain't even take time to, they call you on the phone to see if you need any prayer or if they can pray with you. You won't even answer the phone. You look at the number on the phone and hang the phone up, send it to voicemail, won't even answer. You won't even give them an opportunity to use their faith to show you and demonstrate to you how much they love you. And that's why some things are still wrong in your life. And that's why by the time you come to me, because you think I'm the only person in here that works ministry. You think I'm the only person in here that works miracles. You think I'm the only person in here that can get you a breakthrough. You think I'm the only person in here that can get you a breakout. The devil is a lie. This doesn't rest on me. It rests on you. Oh, my gosh. Let me get out of here because I didn't went to, they lips turned upside down the wrong way when I started saying that. But everybody shout, love lifted me. It was the care of these four men, these four members, who decided that they weren't going to just selfishly go to look for Jesus, to get their problems fixed and their needs met. But when they looked along the side of the road, they realized we can't leave our brother here. We can't leave our sister here. If we love, we got to recognize that he's a member just like us. She's a member just like us. Doesn't matter what color her hair is. Doesn't matter how he came in. Doesn't matter how he smelled. Doesn't matter how she looked. It doesn't matter how they're acting. They're a member of the body. If they joined with us, they're a member of the body. If they joined with us, they're a member of the body. If they joined with us, because guess what? When you came in and your membership was fresh, you smelled like that too. You looked like that too. You acted funny like that too. Didn't nobody trust you either. Come on, the devil is in now, but we're going to get rid of the devil today. I love my whole church, not the ones that act like I want them to act, not the ones that smell like I want them to smell, not the ones that talk like I want them to talk, because if God did us like that, wouldn't nobody get no love. I want to love my church like God loves me. So when it came time to get my help, he came and got me and brought me with him. Look at what they do. Faith. They said we're going to use that so that we can go and grab another member and make sure that they experience the same kind of wholeness that we are going to look to experience. And when they did this, there were some things that happened out of that love. I'm telling you, love is powerful. I just told you, 1 Corinthians 13 says, love is more powerful than faith. You think faith is something. Al Green said it best. Love will make you do wrong. y'all, never mind. You can't go. Some of y'all looking, I know, you don't even know Al Green. You don't know nothing about the grits or nothing like that. I'm just telling you, love will have you doing things you never thought you could do. You'll come into a love relationship with all of these laws. You know, you better not do this, because if you do this, I'm going to leave you. And if you do that, I'm going to walk out the door. And if you do that, I ain't going to be around. And if this ever happened, you better count me gone. And God will test that love, and that thing will happen. And it ain't your faith that's keeping you. But people looking at you, I thought you said you was leaving. I just love him. I love her. Because you begin to realize that it's better to have somebody to love than somebody that I used to love. It is so critical. Love is powerful. Everybody say love is powerful. Love will push you beyond your own limits. Love will break you and then put you back together again. Love will make you sing songs when you don't feel like singing. Love will make you write poetry and you don't even know how to write. Love love gets you doing some stuff. You know, that song talk about what you won't do for love. I'm going to preach that later, but just right now, I'm just here to tell you, I found myself one day, I ain't never in my life imagined that I was going to go out in the cold, get my wife's boots, bring them in the house, and put a hairdryer to them so that the boots were warm when she put them on her feet. I'm down there, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, Jesus in the morning, what you won't do for love. I'm looking foolish. The kids looking at me like that man is not over there warming that woman boots. I know he not. Liam, I'm sorry. I put you in a hard place. I didn't know that that's what I was doing when I was doing it. Love made me do it. That's why she act like she act. She ain't never seen nothing different. I'm sorry. I didn't know that that's what I was doing. But it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to do what it's going to do. Amen. Love will push you there. Imagine that kind of love in our church where you're willing to do for people what you didn't even know you could do. When you're willing to try to love people beyond the capacity that you thought you had. See, it's that love that makes your faith say we can do it. It's that love that makes you reach out and say, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm going to keep making it happen until I get what I want, because it's so important and it's so critical that they know I love them. Imagine if every member was loving each other like that. What kind of church would this be? You write this question down. Ask yourself, what kind of church would this be if everybody loved everybody else? Like I love me. If I loved everybody else like I love me, what kind of church would this be? Oh my gosh. These four men are realizing the power of love and how that love is going to take them to the strangest and the most remarkable places and get to see and get to experience God in a way that they never thought that they could experience him. And let me tell you how this walk of love worked for them. First thing that love did, love finds you. They had to go find this man. They had to go out of their way to find this man, because that's how love works. Love will make you find what you wasn't looking for at first. Love will, love me. How many of you went out looking for love, but you was in all the wrong places, and all the wrong places didn't give you what you wanted. But then one day you didn't turn somebody down, but this person been with you all the time because love just found you. But you didn't like the love that found you because you was looking for your own love. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Got to get out of this. But I'm so glad because love found me. When I was out there hurting and I was out there going crazy, love is what found me. The love of the Father is what found me. He's like the hound of heaven. He sniffed me out and he found me. And I can't even hide from him, but I tried, but he still found me. It was like Adam and Eve. He just put on the clothes of his words and walked down and said, where are you? He knew where I was all along. He just wanted to know that I want to be found, because if I want to be found, he said, and I know where you are, and I'll come to where you are. Even when you can't make it to God, the love of God will find you. And that's what I'm so grateful about, because real church members, we find people. We don't let people be missing for 3, 4, 5 Sundays. Nobody ever ask about them. Nobody ever try to go by the house and look. No, we go find people. And it doesn't matter what we find them doing. Our job is to find them, so at least we can know what's going on, because we're connected. And when I don't see you at church, it does something to me. Some of y'all think that I'm calling you so I can check you about coming to church. I'm not trying to check you about coming to church. You grown. You can do what you want to do. That's not it. But I want you to know I'm concerned about you. I feel a kind of way. It feels a little bit emptier when you're not here. I don't get your amen. I don't get your encouragement. I don't get your waved hand. And there's something about your waving hand that encourages me and that pulls me up. So I got to make sure that when I don't see you, I got to know where you're at. Where can I find you? I don't ever want you laying up in the hospital and I don't know about it. I don't ever want you in need of prayer and I don't know about it. Stop being so secret. Stop being so hid and tucked away. Nobody ashamed of nothing. Whatever it is you're trying to hide, God already know it. And a lot of it he didn't already show somebody else. There ain't no need to hide. You need help, not hiding. Would you look at three people and say, I need help, not hiding. I need help, not hiding. Love will find you. Love went out and caused these four men to find this man. And then when it did, love cares about you. Love cares about you. When I find you, I don't want to just find you and leave you like I found you if you're in trouble. If I find you, I care enough about you. I care about you. I need to know who you are because I care about you. When members begin to care about each other, we can all talk about how we love my church, but if we don't care about the church, then we can't honestly say that we love our church, because who we love, we care about. 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 Some of us are so easily in this generation. We're so emotional in this generation. First words out of our mouth when we take offense to something is how we don't care. I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care about me. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. It's because we don't know that when you say the words, I don't care, it's a sign that obviously you do. Because people who don't care don't even stop to waste time to talk about how they don't care. They're not trying to prove to you that they don't care. People that don't care just don't care. They keep on going and keep on walking. But you got to let me know on Facebook that you don't care. You got to let me know on TikTok that you don't care. You got to let me know on Instagram that you don't care. You know why? Because you need so much attention because you do care, and your care is not being fed. You really want somebody to care about you, and the world has not cared about you. But we cannot be a church that says we love each other if we don't care about each other. Would you just look at three people around and say, I care about you? I care about what's happening with you. I care about what's going on in your life. I care about what you're going through. I care about what's happening in your heart. I care about your relationships. I care about how you're dealing with life. I care about what you're carrying on your back. I care about how sick you might be. I care about what's happening to you. I care about what you're going through. I care about what you're carrying. I care about what you're bearing. I care about you through your trial. I care about you through your pain. I care about you. I care. You cannot separate I love from I care. I care about you. Everybody shout, I love my church. Y'all was, we're getting deep in this kind of thing now. Number three, love gets involved. Because I can't say I care about you if I'm not willing to get involved. If I care about you, then I'm willing to take care of you. If I care about you because I love you, then I'm willing to take care of you if I care about you. This man, they didn't just find him with love and then tell him that they cared about him. They got involved in the situation to help him take care of himself, the parts of himself that he could not take care of. That's how church membership works. We take care of each other. That's what we didn't realize about the church in the book of Acts. The apostles had them to come and bring everything and just lay it at the feet, and then they took care of everybody in the church. See, we can't live like that. Imagine if you brought your whole check to the church. You wouldn't even know how to. I got to depend on you to. I got to depend on you to make sure I eat. I got to depend on you. You too independent for that. But the church has to get to a place where we care about each other so much that we're willing to do what we need to do to take care of each other. And then the church has to become better at letting people take care of you. Ooh. People walk around here like they don't need no help. And then mad when they don't get no help. Hey, can I help you with that? I don't need no help. I don't need no help. I don't need no help. And then go tell somebody else, they wouldn't even help me. And then people believe that the church doesn't help each other. Well, let me tell you something about TLC. We take care of each other, TLC. No, we take care of each other at TLC. If you don't have it, somebody else has it, and they'll do their best to try to make sure that you got what they got, because we believe that if we take care of each other, God will take care of us. You always said if we take care of God, God will take care of us. No, God said, I already got everything I need. I'm God. All I need you to do is take care of each other. If you take care of each other, I'll give seed to the sower. I don't give seed to the stingy. I don't give seed to the selfish. I give seed to the person that's willing to let it go and show it. I give seed to meet needs. You're so concerned about yourself. But we take care of each other. Make sure you take care of each other, the writer says, especially those who are of the household of faith. Some of y'all treat people in the street better than you treat members of your own church. That's not the way it goes. I know what people tell you. Well, that's what we're supposed to do. When a woman almost didn't get her healing if she had listened to what Jesus said. Because when she went to Jesus for healing, he said the bread is for the children. You're not an Israelite. You're not a part of this. I didn't come to heal you. I came to heal them. It was only because she was willing to tell the truth and admit, you know what? It is for children. And I'm just a dog. But I tell you what, if you drop a crumb on the ground, I'll lap that bad boy up like you ain't never seen it before. And Jesus said, man, that's such great faith right there. I got to do something for you. But when Jesus got here, his intention was, I was sent to the household of faith. The only reason it extended is because they didn't receive me. It's 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 because they didn't receive me. Not because I didn't receive them. They rejected me. They rejected the love that I was bringing to them. They didn't want me to love them. And let me tell you something about your God. Your God is petty. Your God say, you don't love me? Then okay, fine. See, we serve that kind of God that we think that's going to chase us around when we don't want to be caught. No, God is not coy. God doesn't chase us around and flirt with you. You don't get to flirt with God. I'm over here. No, I do like you. No, I don't like you. I do like you. No, I don't like you. You don't put God to the test to see how much he really like. You don't get to run away and him to chase you down because he's so madly in love with you. God will stand right there and watch you run all around. God is not a man. Look at your neighbor. Tell him God is not a man. God ain't your man. I know it. God ain't doing all of that. He ain't doing all of that. He said, you don't draw close to me, I will not take a step toward you. You want me in your life, act like you want me to take care of you. Can I just throw this in? Nothing is harder in a marriage for a husband than to be married to a wife that won't let him take care of her. It does something to his ego. Does something to his man makeup. Does something to him. A part of his manhood is tied into taking care of you. But every time he go to take care of you, I can take care of myself. Because you have allowed your hurt to train you on how to deal with. Because you didn't let lies tell you, I don't need no man. If you don't need no man, why are you messing with one? Ooh, oh, wait. You praying for me, right? You cover me now. I'm in the trenches. I went deep. I turned left, and love gets involved. I'm sorry to tell on you, baby. I ain't even trying to do all this stuff. It was hard for her because she was raised that independent, and her mom taught her to be independent. And it took me a long time to get her to, you know what? I said I got it. She like, you gonna get mad? Yes. I said I got it. Because what she didn't understand was how everybody else was looking at me when she wouldn't let me get it. And I couldn't tell them. I couldn't tell the brothers that she out there pumping gas because she won't let me. The brothers looking at me like, yeah, okay, whatever. And women, you know about this. That's why you do your kids like you do them. You make them get up and wash their face and comb their hair and brush their hair and put their stuff together and pick their clothes out right. And the first thing you tell them, because you don't go out here looking crazy, because everybody going to say, your mama. So don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about men taking care of things. In the church, we take care of each other. And it is a sign to the world that not that we're a cult, but that we are together, that we are unified. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. We're unified. If I see you going down, I'm coming to get you. If I see you without, I'm coming to help you. Why? I'm willing to take care of you. Because one day is your day. But on another day, it might be my day. And I don't need you standing around talking about, well, when I was going through, you didn't take care of me. The devil is a lie. We're going to take care of each other because both of us going to have a day. You didn't hear what I just said. All of us going to have a day. All of us going to have a day. As sure as you're on the top of the mountain right now, you're going to have some valley days. You're going to have some sea days. You're going to have some sick days. You're going to have some off days. And that's why we need the membership, so that in your dark days, at least somebody got some light that they can bring around here. I grew up on the east side of Detroit, from Chicago, but grew up on the east side of Detroit. And one thing I know, we had neighbors. I talked to y'all about the neighbors last week, about the Walkers. We had the Walkers that was next door to us. And I tell you what, they were good neighbors. They wasn't State Farm, but they were good neighbors. They were better than that. They were great neighbors. And they would come sometimes. Unfortunately, my mom would not have enough money to pay the water bill. And they would show up and dig up that little spot in the ground, and they would turn off the water, and they would put it back over there. And she couldn't turn it back on until she paid the bill. She didn't have the money and wasn't going to have the money for a couple of weeks, but she never lost her faith. She never lost her smile. She just waited for them to leave. And then the neighbors came across and said, hook your water hose up, run it through your bathroom, and run it into our bathroom. We're going to hook it up to the tub, and we'll make sure that you have some water until you can pay the bill. Because we were willing. We got more money than black folk ever had. We got more technology than we've ever had. We have more ways to help each other than we've ever had. And with the more ways we had to help each other, the less we help each other. When we had less, we did more. Because I realize if I might need you one day. And see, that's what it is. People are arrogant. You don't ever think you're going to need somebody. Oh, but I'm here to tell you that the songwriter is right. Everybody needs somebody sometime. I love that song. I need you to survive, baby. You are wrapped up in my survival. See, church membership, we could join a club. We could join this. Church membership is so together. It's so stitched together. It's so connected together. That's what doesn't make us an organization. It makes us an organism. Churches that have become organizations, they go down really quickly. Churches that become 501c3s and organizations, okay, they do what they do, but you never really see the power of God moving in that place. No, you got to be in a place where you're not dependent on those things. You're dependent on the love that you show to one another. You can have less. Look, this, y'all don't know, 30 years, you don't know the kind of stuff we see. I remember one time we were having service, and Perry had to climb over our head while we were in service because pigeons had got sliding to the ceiling. And we were down there having service, and he up there chasing pigeons. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. I remember one time we were over there on Rochelle, and I was preaching, and the next thing I know, I went from being whatever my height is to about 3 feet because my leg then slipped in the floor, in the hole in the floor. And guess what? I kept right on preaching, and they just came over, and they just picked me right on up, and I kept on preaching. Y'all don't know what we've been through. That's why you can take it for granted and be arrogant. But that's why our praise is so strong, because we know what we've been through. And it wasn't the time they came while we were having church, and they came to tell us that we didn't own the building. They tried to tell us that they were going to put us out of the building that we knew that we owned, that we bought. A man came and said he owned it. We said the devil is a lie. We went right back in, started praying, kept on preaching, kept on doing what we were doing. By the end of the week, didn't make it there good. Before the man came and apologized, say, I'm sorry, because see, God will do more with your less. It's not just by your faith. He says, I want you to show me that you love me. Take care of each other. Take care of each other. Take care of each other. 2025 is a year we're going to take care of each other. We're not going to just do this in word, but we're going to do it in deed. We're going to take care of each other. If I got a loaf of bread and you don't have no bread, then you can have a slice of mine. We're going to take care of each other. If you ain't got no clothes and I got some hanging in the closet that I haven't worn in a long time, then you got clothes. And then we ain't going to talk about you because you don't have this and you don't have that. God's going to make a way for me to have it so I can help to take care of you. Well, somebody jump up and shout, this year we going to take care of each other. And before you start talking about you don't want nobody getting in your business, they're not trying to get in your business, they're trying to get involved. I don't really care about your business. You ain't got to tell me where you went wrong. You ain't got to tell me none of that stuff. Because God don't care about all that. He just wants to know, do you want help? Here's another thing. These 4 men, they found this one man, and they started carrying him. You know why? Because love carries you. 1 Corinthians 13 says love bears all. Love will put your weight, will put somebody else's weight on you. And you'll carry it. You didn't hear, the strong bearing the infirmity of the weak. Well, hold on a minute. See, the problem is not that we don't know who the weak are. The problem is we don't know who the strong are. See, you don't know you're strong because you're going through something. But God is trying to show you, even though you're going through something, you're still strong. Because somebody is stuck in something. At least you're going through something. And because you don't know you're strong, you can identify all the weak people. But the problem is you don't think you're strong enough to help them because you ain't read your whole Bible through, because you're not a preacher like Pastor Willis, because you ain't got no calling like that on your life, because you don't wear a collar, because you don't even know how to use no anointing oil, because you ain't never prayed for nobody before, but you ain't never memorized from Genesis to Revelation. Guess what? Neither do some of us. But not having things or having struggles in your life doesn't mean that you're not strong. Actually, if you're carrying struggle, it's the weight of your struggle that you're carrying that shows that you're strong enough. So stop blaming failure on the weak. Failure is not on the back of the weak. Failure is on the back of the strong that have not recognized that they're strong enough to bear the infirmities of the weak. God knows you don't have it all together. God knows your whole life ain't fixed up. God already knows that you ain't read the whole Bible. God already knows that you got some stuff still going on. God already knows that you're tipping and dipping. God already knows that you're going in and going out. God already knows. God says, I'm working on that. But while I'm working on you, you still got enough strength to work on somebody else. He told Peter, he said, now that you're converted, strengthen your brother. Wait a minute. Peter had some stuff still going on. He told Peter this before Peter denied him. He told Peter this right after he said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." I mean, Peter has stuff going on, but he still said, when you change, you got enough strength to strengthen them. God is saying, TLC, it's weak people here, but it's a lot of strong people here. As a matter of fact, there are more strong people here than there are weak people here. There is no reason why we're not bearing the infirmities of the weak. God says love carries. You find somebody weak, stop looking at yourself and assessing your own strength. Because you really don't know how strong you are. Assessing your own strength is like a child trying to assess when they've grown taller. Assessing your own strength is like you trying to watch your hair grow. You don't know when it happened. You just wake up one day and it's longer. Uh-oh. God says, I'm the assessor of your strength because I'm the giver of your strength. And now let the weak say, I am strong. You mean it starts with what I say, which starts with what I believe, which goes into what I desire. I desire to be strong. Therefore, I say I'm strong. Everybody say love carries. Another thing that you find out, they pick this man up and they start carrying him. And they start carrying him. The next one is love gets you there. Love gets you there. That place you've been really longing for in your life. Love gets you there. The way you really want to believe God, the way you really want to act in God, the way you really want to be in God, love gets you there. And it's the love that we're willing to show each other. Love gets you to the place where people begin to honor the God that's in you. The Bible says that they shall know you and that I am in you because of the love that they see you have one for another. When the world sees you love it, guess what, you all, this is something that you may not know. More people have joined this ministry not because of our great faith, not because of our great hope, not because of our great praise team, not because of our great media team, not because of our great ministers, not because the great apostle, because the great pastor, Wytrice, not because of that. People will tell you 9 times out of 10, I came because I felt love in this place. I came because I felt love. I just felt like when I walked in, like I belonged because I just felt the love here. That is the power that God has given us. You don't understand. That is the fruit of the Spirit that God has given us. And because we care more about the fruit of the Spirit than we do the gifts of the Spirit, God says that's how I'm going to draw them. I'm going to draw them with my love and my kindness. And that's what I want you to use. I want you to be, it doesn't matter how they look, doesn't matter how they act, just love them anyway. What's got us in this place where we are right now is the love that we have for people. Trust me, they have tried to figure out ways to get us out of here, and they can't do it. Because over the door out there it says, I enter to worship. I exit to serve. I come in to get filled with love so that when I leave out of here, now I can display love. I can give that to everybody because when I come to church, that's what I come to experience. Many of you come to church for healings, for blessings, for favor, but you need to come for fellowship because sometimes you don't even need, you already got favor. Sometimes you already got blessing, but the reason you don't realize it is because you haven't fellowship. Sometimes you just need somebody that's standing next to you to say, you got it, you can do it, let's go, keep on going, you good, you can make it, let's go, because love carries. They carried this man. And then finally when they got there, they couldn't go in the normal way, so they said, we need enough love for this man that will cause us to inconvenience ourselves and use that love to lift him. It wasn't faith. Faith empowered their love. if they didn't love this man, they would have never lifted him. They took this man airborne to get him into the house because they refused to let him leave without what they carried him there to get. That's a lot of love. And it's a lot of love for him to lay there on that bed and let them use their love to lift him up. It was one thing when y'all was carrying me on the ground, because if you drop me, at least I'm close to the ground. But now you want to hoist me up in the air? What if you drop me? What if you hurt me? What if I experience some difficulty? What if I get up there and I change my mind? What's going to happen? Love was working both ways, and love lifted this man. And you begin to see the miracle take place because they were willing to utilize their faith to display an act of love. And that love was to lift him. That love was to lift him. Listen to this. All three ways of lifting had to happen. Somebody had to lift him by getting underneath him and pushing. Some of us in here, we're the members that push. Some of us in here are the members that push. Yep, we're underneath you and we're pushing you. Yep, you don't like it because you can't see what we're doing because we're underneath you pushing you. But you need to just trust God and know we got you. Reason we got you is because we've been pushed before. So we know we're professional pushers. I wish I had a witness. You walking around here mad at the people that's pushing you, but they're professional pushers. They know how to push your buttons. They know how to push you forward. They know how to push you further. They know how to push you. Yep, they keep jumping in your face because they keep pushing you. You getting tired of it because you don't trust it, because you don't like it, because it's uncomfortable, because you can't see what's going on. But don't worry about it. They pushing you to your destiny. They're pushing you to your place. They're pushing you to your next level. They're pushing you to higher heights. They're pushing you to your transformation. You ought to thank God for your pushers. You ought to thank God for your pushers, baby. I know they get on your nerves sometimes, but you ought to thank God. Your pusher wants you to get there so bad that they're willing to risk their health. They standing underneath your burden. They standing underneath your weight. They standing underneath your struggle. They standing underneath your trouble. They standing underneath your sickness. They standing underneath your pain. They standing underneath your unforgiveness. They standing underneath of your lack of mercy. But they're willing to do it because they know if I can just get you. If I could just get you off the ground. Look at three people and tell me, I'm just trying to get you off the ground. I'm just trying to push you up. I'm just trying to get you off the ground. You think you're going through something here. Baby, if you let me get you off the ground, then I promise you it's going to be all right. God says that a church that loves each other has got some pushers in it. Where are my pushers at? Your pusher will come and make you praise God, even though you don't feel like it. Your pusher will come and make you not just sit there. Your pusher will come and say, God been better to you than that look on your face. Put a smile on your face. That pusher will come and say, what's wrong with you? Get it together. God's still blessing you. I wish I had my pushers to give God a crazy kind of... Look at somebody and tell you, better get you a pusher. You better get you a pusher. You better stop running from the pushers. You better get you a pusher. Watch this, watch this. Your next high depend on your pusher. You've been using the wrong pusher. I'm telling you that there's a high that God got for you that's waiting on you. If you got a pusher, they'll say, I got something that'll get you higher than you ever been before. Somebody in here that want to go high, you just need to change your pusher. Push me. Refuse to let me settle for anything less than my destiny. Refuse to let me stay down here and waddle in my mess. Refuse to let me lay around and just be hurt. Refuse to let me lay around and be depressed. Refuse to let me just sit over here. The devil is a lie. If you're here with me, I'm pushing you because I'm trying to get in too. Love sometimes push you. Love ain't always nice and soft and all of that. It ain't always comfortable. Sometimes love push you. Sometimes love come and bully you. Sometimes you can argue with love all you want, but you're going to stay right there because love will push you. And you ought to respect love enough and reverence love enough to know that if somebody care enough about you to push you, then there's got to be some love there. It's got to be some care there. It's got to be some concern there. Stop letting the world dictate to you who real and who phony. The devil is a lie. If I care enough about you to push you, then I love you. Another way that love lifts you, somebody had to be pushing, but then somebody had to go up before them and had to pull. They went up before him, not so that they could go in themselves, but they went up before him so that they could pull. So while one was pushing, two was on the bottom pushing. Two was at the top pulling. Two was on the bottom pushing. Two was on the top pulling. How do you know the difference between the pushers and the pullers? The pushers are down there with you. The pullers, they already seen where you can go. They already seen what you can do. They already seen what can happen. They already know what they're going to do. They already know. There's some folk in your life that's in the church that God put here. The reason they pulling you is because they already been there. They already seen the glory. They already know your healing there. They already see what's going to happen. Oh. If you would stop being so resistant, stop snatching your arm back because pulling is not comfortable. See, it's easier to be pushed because your only discomfort is not knowing what's happening beneath you and you got to trust. But pulling means I got to extend my limb to your limb and I got to stretch something. I got to stretch something. I got to stretch something. It's uncomfortable. It don't feel good. But if you just let me pull you, you ought to thank God for your pullers. You ought to thank God for the people that come and say, baby, if you just pray about it, I got you. I'll intercede with you. I'll get down on my knees with you. I'll lay on my face with you. I ain't going to do it for you, but I will do it with you. Because when I pull you, I can't pull for you. I can only pull with you. I dare you to grab somebody next to you and say, I'm pulling. This year, I'm pulling. I'm pulling. I'm pulling. I'm pulling. I refuse to leave you behind. I refuse to leave. I done already seen the glory of God on your life. I done already seen what God can do. I done already seen love is pulling on you. I'm pulling you even though I know it hurt. I'm pulling you even though I know it's uncomfortable. I'm pulling you because I care about you. Come on up higher. Pusher says, go up higher. Puller says, come up higher. You better thank God for the people that dare to challenge you to come up higher. You better thank God for the people that dare to tell you, you know what, I'm not going to let you stay here. This was so funny. I promise y'all I don't make this stuff up. This really happened. My Pastor Wytrice, her leg was hurting. Her leg has been bothering her. And I was sitting there getting ready to do the training, and she said, babe, come pull my leg. And I went to go pull her leg, and it was something in me. I said, ooh, I just can't pull. She said, you got to pull it harder. I say, I can't cause pain to you. I'm sorry. It broke my heart. I'm like, I just haven't been equipped to do that. But then the next night, she said, you know, I feel a lot better because Marilyn came over and she pulled my leg because Marilyn was so willing. to see me feel better, that she was willing to risk hurting me in order to help me. Sometimes you love people and you don't want to hurt them, but then you can't pull what you need to pull. But you need to be able to love them more than the pain and love them more than the hurt. You need to be able to love them more because you know that if I go ahead and hurt right now, then you're going to be better when I'm done pulling on you. Somebody in here need to be pulled. I dare you to shout, pull me, pull me. 2025, I'm asking God to give me a whole bunch of pushers and pullers. I don't want nothing else. I don't want no churchgoers. I don't want no super religious person. I don't want no more innocent. I don't want none of that. I don't want no super spiritual people. I don't want no traditional folk. I just want some pushers and some pullers. I just want some pushers and some pullers. I just want some pushers and some pullers. I just want a church full of pushers and pullers. Anybody in here that just wants some pushers? Oh my God. Oh my God. And when that love started pulling, that love started pushing, finally they got him up there. And the miracle takes place because their love for him lifted him. Now remember I said that was the church. That was the church. Somebody got to lift you up to Jesus. Somebody got to get you there. Church members, the reason that it's so important this year that we love our church is because we need to realize that the same way we need to be pushers and pullers is the same way that we need sometime to be pushed and to be pulled. Because at the end of the day, it is not your faith that's going to move you. It is your love that's going to move you. God doesn't move because of his faith. God is just faithful. But God moves because he loves. Oh my God. I'm trying to tell somebody in here that you are one love away from your greatest blessing. You are one love away from your greatest miracle. You are one love away from your greatest amount of favor. You are one love away from your greatest breakthrough. You are one love away. If you can make it up in your heart that you're going to be like God and you're going to love people. Everybody always talking like holiness is God's number one trait. Holiness is not his number one trait. Holiness does not keep you out of heaven. Love and not loving is what keeps you out of heaven. I wish I had a witness in here. Somebody in here need to understand that 2025, I love my church. I love my pastor. I love my ministers. I love the members. I love the praise team. I love the media team. Everybody in here, I love because when I was sinking deep in sin, far from a peaceful shore, very deeply stained within, sinking to rise no more. But the master from the sea heard my despairing cry, and from the waters he lifted me, and now safe am I. Somebody shout, love lifted me. Love lifted me. Now give God a praise because you love him. Hey! I feel the power of God in this house. Why do you think the enemy is working on you so hard with unforgiveness? Why do you think that the enemy is working on you so hard to lack in mercy? Why do you think the enemy is working so hard in keeping you separated from everybody? Because he's not scared of your faith, but he's scared that if we ever get together on love, a church that loves is the church that pulls together and go fights against the gates of hell. I'm going to say this and I'm done. Now, we're excited because the love that lifted us, we think we're talking about God. I'm not talking about God. I'm saying the love that's lifting you might be coming from the person sitting next to you. Before you can get to God's love, you might need to know how to experience the love that flows from heart to heart, from breast to breast. You might need me to physically help you. Moses loved God. But when they were standing there and he was on that mountain and they were down there fighting and he was lifting his arms up, his arms got tired. His faith didn't hold his arms up. It was the love of the two men that came. One took his right and one took his left and held his arms up and rolled a rock so he could sit down. That was love. Love is what does it. And TLC, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how much faith you get. Yes, I want you to get faith. Doesn't matter how much hope you get. Yes, I want you to have hope. But you better understand that this year, if you don't start loving, I'm trying to get out of here, but God wants me to tell you, you got to start loving. It's so funny because when Jesus was talking one of his greatest sermons about faith, you know that time when he was like, if you had the faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and it shall be done. Do you know what happened in the next verses? He said, and if you have any unforgiveness on your heart. Wait, how we get from faith that moves mountains to forgiveness? Because he says the only thing that can rob your faith is you to have lack of love. God says 2025, we don't need to just be saying it. We need to be experiencing the love that lifts us. I refuse to let you just keep having your head bowed down like you don't have a friend in the world. You don't need a friend in the world if you got a brother in church. You don't need a friend in the world if you got a sister in church. You don't need but them, you didn't let them convince you. But them people in there, they worse than us. The devil is a lie. I don't care what kind of fight you have with somebody in church. I guarantee you that they ain't treating you like the people that don't know God. The people that don't know God, they don't know when to stop. The people that don't know God, they don't have no limits. The people that don't know God, they don't have no boundary. At least I got God in here that tell me enough. That's enough. Calm your roll. Slow yourself down. Shut your mouth. I got a Holy Ghost that'll tell me when to shut up, when to stop applying pressure, when to stop putting it on. They ain't got nobody out there that they listen to. The devil is a lie. We have a love in here that breaks in, a love that will cover a multitude of sin. We got the love in here that's the power of reconciliation. We got love in here that can heal sickness. We got love in here that can mend broken hearts. We got love in here that can pull you out of depression. We got love in here that can turn around hate in your heart. We got love in here. Somebody shout, that's what I need. Would you do me a favor and just one more time find you some people and tell them love lifted me, and if love is lifting me, I'm lifting you. Love, it's the 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 love. Love lifted me. Love lifted me when nothing else could help. Love lifted me. Oh, love lifted me. Oh, love lifted me. Listen to this part. When nothing else could help, love lifted me.